Hello and welcome to the Knitting Diaries that haven't happened in a couple of weeks. Sorry about that. On one other occasion, I'm sorry at least. 2 weeks ago I was at my parents', so I did knit. I did get some yarn. That was one of the goals. The goal with visiting my parents was, visiting my parents, having a chat. Long ones, and eating good food, and getting yarn. And I'll get to that later, the yarn thing. And I ended up with more than I thought, so that was nice, I think. It's not like it didn't have yarn already, but you know, a little this and that. And last weekend I was so exhausted that it would not have been fun for me nor you if I tried to film. So today it's Sunday, 5th of February. I really hope you'll see this tomorrow. That's the goal. So like the video if I manage to do that. Fingers crossed. But yeah, the Knitting Diaries. I've been doing a lot. Probably not that surprising since it's 3 weeks since my last diaries. I almost feel like I should say it's been 3 weeks since my last confession. It's not a confession, it's just a lot of knitting. And a tiny bit of crochet, but not really, just weaving in some ends. So I'm thinking I will start with my basket. And as always, I don't really know what you see. They really need to find a way to make that happen. But anyway, this is my basket of knitting. And currently it contains a cardigan that is on pause and the knitted socks that I've started on that I'm using this yarn. I divided the yarn in two and I was like really thinking like this, I'm gonna make this happen. It's 75% wool and 25% polyamide and I have no idea, as I said, what you can see. And like the focus thing and all, that's always a struggle with this camera. I know what to do when buying a next camera, making sure certain things are different. Anyway, these socks are the socks I'm currently knitting on, except I'm not. These are knitted toe up. So I started with the toe box. It was way easier than I thought, and there's no like weird lines on the sides. But I've come to the place where I think I need to start with like the gusset and the heel, and I have no idea how to do that. And yes, the video that I'm using as kind of like a base seems to be explaining it really well. Unfortunately, my brain is very scattered at the moment, so this is pausing for the moment. But the start went off really well. So one weird thing there, I don't know. And I really like the yarn. And it's like very decorative, I think, without doing anything, because it is a, what would you call it, a multicolored yarn? I don't know. That's what I'm gonna call it. But that is currently in the basket. And the basket is filled with all different needles. Definitely not all the needles I have. I have a lot. But yeah. That is paused items. So, but I have also finished several items. Some of them I just needed to, the 3 of these I just needed to weave in the ends. And these are the same. And they're super simple to make, and they're super cute, and they're great to have. They're washcloths. And the pattern is super simple. So like, it's basically knit and purl in different numbers. So, and it's cotton, and they're cute, and they're really soft, and I like soft. Everything I make is soft. I mean, yarn in general is soft, but some is more rustic and little more scratchy, like the sweater I'm wearing. It's not very scratchy, but I would definitely not be wearing this sweater if I didn't have a shirt under it, because I'm very sensitive when it comes to scratchy, itchy things. So yeah, 2 washcloths, finally weaved in the ends. They've been done for like, I don't know, like a month or something. But yeah, finally weaved in the last of the ends. Great thing there. And then this is a crochet item. I have no idea how to properly show it off on camera. You can use it either as a scarf or a tiny little shawl, I guess. Like, wrap it around you. I'm not gonna do that because, yet again, itchy, scratchy, I am very sensitive. But it's just very, very simple crochet. I have no idea what the stitches are called in English. But it's this yarn, it's Drops Alpaca. It's super cute and it's super soft, but to me it's a tiny bit scratchy, which is very unfortunate. But it's 100% alpaca, and I don't know what else to tell you except it's a really pretty color. I thought it was blue, and then I thought it was green, and then I've come to realize, and I have no idea how well you'll be able to see it, but it's a mixture of green and blue. And I really hope you can see it. I don't know. And then I'm like, did I get fuzzy now? Anyway, I made more stuff. I finished knitting, let's grab one. I finished knitting these. These might not look they're very stretchy. They're basically ribbing with 2 knit and 2 purl. These are leg warmers. I love leg warmers in the winter because I freeze easily. I'm like a freaking popsicle in winter, except I'm still somewhat movable. And the reason the 2 of these match is because when I finished this sweater, I had 2 balls of yarn left, 50 gram each, and I figured, hey, why not make a pair of leg warmers? They're 100% wool, they're superwash, it's merino wool, and the color is 111. So no fancy names on the colors here, but I love leg warmers. As I said, I'm occasionally a popsicle in winter. I can be cold in summer too, but you know, I live in Norway. It's not always the warmest even in summer. But either like put them all on your leg. I'm wearing a pair of old ones right now, and they're not wool. I don't know how well I'll be able to show you. This will be an experiment. Oh dear, and they're really dirty. But I use them like either stretch them through my whole leg, or just scrunch them up by the ankle to keep warm. And since these were so easy and fun, I made another pair of leg warmers because I love it. I made these a little differently, and they're a little bit longer. Not a lot longer, but I had just a tiny bit longer, but I had 2 balls of yarn plus a little bit extra in this color, and this is an old yarn. I mean, look at the tag, isn't it cute? I don't think you get that many tags like that anymore. It's Bambino wool, and it's 100% merino wool superwash. And you can't get it anymore because it's an old one. But I did basically the same. It's all ribbing except 1 cable down the front or on the side, or 1 cable down your leg wherever you choose to put the cable, basically. And these are so soft, and I'm usually, as I said, very itchy and scratchy, but this, if I could get this yarn, I think I could love it, even just straight on my skin like this, because it's not scratchy, but you can't get it anymore because it's an old one, and that makes me a little sad. I like wool that is not scratchy because that means I get to be warm without like itching myself to death. So yeah, that's all my finished items. But you know, as I said, it's been 3 weeks since my last confession in the Knitting Diaries. I have more stuff. And some of the stuff I've done more on. Like, done several times. I made some mistakes. I learned things. And I'm gonna tell you about it because why not? I can. I love that. The first thing I did, and not the reason I went to my parents, but one of the reasons I went to my parents, because my mom is in a knitting group, and part of what they knit are baby blankets for the hospital. Because when the hospital gets people coming in and giving birth, and their mamas, I mean, I've never given birth, but I assume it's exhausting. And babies should not be freezing. They should be nice and warm and tucked in somewhere. So the hospital gives out baby blankets that volunteers knit. So I guess in a way it's charity-ish thing. Not sure how to explain it. But my mom is in such a knitting group. And I heard about it and I've never knitted a baby blanket before, and it's a good cause, so, you know, why not try it out? So I got a bag of yarn, and I have started knitting. And the yarn is baby yarn, superwash, 100% merino wool, and they've been told by the hospital which yarn they prefer that is not supposed to be scratchy. I have to say, to me, this feels a bit scratchy. This one, not so much. Then again, this one don't exist anymore, unless you have it, which I did. But yeah, this, it is very soft though. So I assume if you just wash it, that some of the itchiness goes away. That is what happened with this sweater, at least. It was itchy, and then I washed it, and now it's less itchy, which is great. Anyway, the baby blanket. I started it, and I started a pattern. And then I realized, on this dark blue color, pattern don't really show up. It's like too dark. You can't see the pattern. Which was a little annoying, because I wanted it to show off, and also I kept making mistakes, which was also really annoying, because I had to like undo and then knit it again, and then undo because I found a new mistake, and I don't know. It happened like 5 or 6 times that I made mistakes, so just, you know what? I had finished a full ball of yarn and started the second one when I decided I'm just gonna rip it all out because I am sick of making mistakes. So that's what I did. And I'll show you the pattern after on my next project, because as I said, I got this yarn 3 weeks ago. I'm now on my 3rd ball, and it's starting to be very, very tiny. And it's not much of a pattern now, but it's big. I mean, this is the width from this end to this end. I hope you can see it. And, you know, I've gotten 8 balls from my mom. I don't think I need all of them. I'm not even done with the 3rd ball. So I think I should be good with only 6, which means we have extra yarn to add to a new blanket. That is part of what I got, and as you can see, this is very simple knitting. It's basically a simple pattern. Yet again, I have no idea how well you'll be able to see it, but it's basically tiny little squares with knits and purls stitches. Purl stitches. Wow. Okay, so that is, I've been working a lot on this, and it's really simple, so I can sit and watch YouTube videos while I do this without paying too much attention. And I don't make a lot of mistakes, which is great. I love that. I mean, we all make mistakes sometimes when we knit, but like every 3rd row, super annoying. This, I've had like 1 or 2 mistakes, and they've been easy to fix, so yeah. I'm really enjoying it, and it's going by way faster than I thought it would. So I'm very happy about that. But when I was at my parents', I have a grandma who's really old, And even though she used to do a lot with yarn, like knitting and a little bit of crochet, she don't do it anymore. So I got another little bag. That was not intentional from my side, but got a little bit of a bag. This is very simple cotton, mostly for crochet. It's very thin. Can you see it? I don't know, but it's a really big ball. It's like close to 200 grams. And most yarn, oh shoot. Most yarn where I live comes in these small cute little 50-gram balls. So this is probably about 200 grams. I haven't weighed it, but I've seen them before. What I will make of this, I have no idea. But that was not all. There were more. And it was, oh, my hair is everywhere. It was the two of these. And this one is obviously a full one. This one has been used, but it has been, I mean, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's been kind of made something out of and then unwound again. Is that the right word? And it has like, I don't know what's on it, but it's been used and then undone, and I'm pretty sure this is technically the whole ball. So it's also cotton, and they're 100 grams each. What I will make of them, I don't know, because it's very thin yarn. It's like super, what happened? Super thin yarn. How do I show this? Someone tell me. Because the needle size, it's crochet needle 1.25 or 1.5, and we're talking millimeters here, so teeny tiny, very teeny tiny. But that was extra yarn for me. That had nothing to do with the baby blanket, but yeah, and I don't know what I will make of this. I will have to figure that out, but yeah, new yarn for me. Like I needed more yarn at the moment, and the answer is technically no, but still, you know, I have a lot. Why not a little bit more? But I said I would tell you about the pattern for the baby blanket. And the pattern for the baby blanket is this. Hold on. This one. Sunrise by Drops Design. And it's super cute, and yes, I printed it out in black and white, because that's what I have. Super cute. This is like how you do it. And it's now in 2 pieces. Because I actually had this yarn, which was, oh, I don't have, here it is. It's, woo! This yarn is Baby Merino. I don't know how well you can see it, but when I found this pattern, I realized I actually had the yarn that the pattern called for, which is practically unheard of because most of my yarn is older. I mean, I bought this yarn like, what, 6 years ago? But it says you need, and the biggest size you need 250 grams. Great! That's exactly what I had. And it says use, what's the word again? Needle. You use the needle size 3mm. Great! I have that. But when I use this, and yes, I will have to block it, and this is the pattern. Isn't it cute? Can you see it properly? Can you? I don't know. But this is not the size that the pattern says. This is a lot smaller. I do knit a little like tight. Is that the right word? And well, I was thinking this, I'm actually using the 3mm needle, but I don't like gauge swatch. I've never done that. I might need to start with it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm that interested in that part of it, but this is too small. And even though I love the pattern, it's too small. So I'm thinking, oh, I could just use my bigger needle, 3.5. But I only have one 3.5, and it's very much in use. It's gonna take a while before it's ready to, you know, be used for other things. So now I'm debating, because this is a 4 size needle, and I will admit that, oh dear, what is happening? Okay, I will admit that, sure, I haven't gotten far, but I like the size a lot better on the 4 size needle. And even though I haven't gotten far, because, you know, I just started from the other side of the yarn because it was so close to being the end, I'm debating whether I should like undo what I've done on a 3mm needle and just continue on the 4mm needle. And I think that will be my answer, because I think I like the size that is happening on the bigger needles better. 3.5mm needle would probably be perfect, but they're in use, can't use them, so I gotta make a choice. And even though I made like almost a full yarn on this, because this is the end of it, I think I will undo this and make it here instead. So that will be yet another thing of like, oh, let's undo something that I've done to do it again. Because apparently, why not? That is how I'm doing things. And I guess you could say that's the downside. I'm not like gauge swatching, like knitting like a little piece and measure it out so it's the same size as the pattern says. That's the downside of not doing that. Does that mean I will start with doing that? Not very likely, but you know, maybe, maybe not. Maybe at some point in the future I will get sick of having to redo things. Currently, I'm just enjoying the knitting. And for me, right now, that is the goal, to enjoy the knitting. The last project that I'm working on, like actively working on at the moment, that is a pair of wrist warmers. And yet again, I found the pattern on Drops Design. Apparently that's my pattern place at the moment. And it's basically, it took me a while to figure it out, but it's basically the same pattern as the baby blanket. It just looks slightly different. And it's not exactly the same, but it's close. And the funny thing with this, these calls for the yarn Drops Alpaca. And that is the yarn I used in this shawl. I don't have more of this yarn, but I had something else that didn't seem too far off when I like checked the gauge in the pattern and checked the potential gauge of the yarn. And it might be too dark for you to see. It's baby silk, that's the name of it. It's 80% baby alpaca and 20% silk. It is not the yarn that this one calls for, but that is what I'm doing. The color is number 324. And I'm supposed to only need 50 grams. I really hope that is true, because I only have one ball of yarn. This color is gorgeous. And, ooh, gosh. And I'm using, the needles are 3.5mm. And I'm thinking like, since I've started working on like magic loop on these socks, I don't know if it would work with wrist warmers. I mean, technically it should, because, you know, I don't know. I don't know how well you can see the pattern on here, but it's the same pattern as the baby blanket. And 80% baby alpaca plus 20% silk equals super soft. The only one challenge is that I think they will be a little too big for me. They're very, very loose, but they're super soft. And as far as I can tell, not scratchy, not itchy, which is a good sign in my book. But yeah, this is taking quite a while. I've been working at this for days. And I also made a couple of mistakes in the beginning, so I had to knit backwards, and then, yeah, but I think I get it now. how it's supposed to be. So I'm excited and I really enjoy it. And I have a few more things I'm gonna show you, and that will be it, because I finally started to like finding patterns and like planning out what to do. And yes, I know I'm currently working on technically 5 things, but 2 of them are on break. So I'm kind of only working on 3 things. Like 2 baby blankets and 1 pair of wrist warmers should be enough for the moment. But yeah, that was new yarn, charity project, finished objects in motion. That's probably not what it's called. And at the end here, you will get to see what my future plans are. So enjoy that right now. And these are the projects. These 4 balls here are the rest of the pink baby blanket that I talked about earlier. And these are the other 4 projects that I have yet to start. This is... Okay, I need to... Well, it's 4-ply superwash. You can see how much wool and other stuff is there. This is gonna be a pair of socks knitted from toe up. I just, as I said earlier, need to figure out how to do the rest of it, because that is currently on a pause. This yarn is, I got all these patterns off Drops, their website. I believe other people love them too. This is obviously in Norwegian. It's supposed to be made, and yes, I printed them in black and white, so you can't see the pattern, but it's very pretty if you look it up on their website and see the pattern there. But I'm gonna use, the goal at least is to use this baby silk. It's a really pretty blue color. It's baby alpaca and silk, and it's super soft, like the other wrist warmers I'm making, because that's what this is, as you can see in the picture. And this here will also be 2 pairs of wrist warmers, or 1 pair each, I should say. This is Drops Merino Extra Fine. It's a purple color. I don't think you can get it anymore. At least I looked on their website and it didn't look like it. Color number 21. And this is a pattern that I found. You can knit both a hat, wrist warmers, and I don't know what this is called in English, but that too. And it's actually the correct yarn for the pattern, which is very surprising. And according to this, as far as I can understand, you actually need, it says right here, wrist warmers, 100 grams. So you basically need 2 balls for 1 pair of wrist warmers, which I think might be a little excessive, but that's what it says. And the last plan is the pink one here, same type of yarn, color number 17. I'm not sure if you can get this one anymore either. The same thing here, hat, wrist warmers, and a thing around to have around the neck. That was way too many words, but between 50 and 100 grams for the wrist warmers. Here is the name of the pattern. And, you know, finally get to use some yarn, or I will not start with those things yet, apart from the pink baby blanket, but that's it. That's the rest of that. And that's it. That's all the yarn things I wanted to talk to you about today. I have been thoroughly enjoying myself. I mean, if I hadn't been enjoying myself, I wouldn't have been making all of these things. And these are just a few of them. But yeah, I hope you enjoy some yarn related stuff, whether it is wearing yarn related things or making them. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure it's nice and soft. I'm not gonna hug this one because itchy, scratchy. And I hope you have a nice day, and you'll get to see me and the Knitting Diaries next week. I hope. Fingers crossed.